today is National Stress Awareness Day. That's right, it is National Stress Awareness Day. I have to say, I am pretty shocked that they don't do this the day before Election Day because I think more people needed to be aware of stress yesterday than they might be today. I don't know. I don't know for sure. But there is one thing that I am certain about, and that is the Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com. And I have a special guest sitting on my lap today. Yes, Smokey's with me. We'll see how long she hangs out on my lap. She usually only hangs out for a few minutes. But I am here in the Duct Tape Studios once again. And, of course, I'm your humble host, or somewhatly humble host. And if this is your first time tuning in, this is a very, very casual show. I am the Grand Poobah of the gaminggang.com, and today is Wargame Wednesday, so I am actually going to be unboxing and taking a first look at the new edition of Fire in the Lake, a coin series title. I want to say, I think this is number 4. I'm not looking at the box, but if I remember right, I think this is number 4 in the series. It is from GMT Games. I know they're calling it a reprint edition, but there are some new things to it. So we are going to take a peek into the game itself and try to maybe get an idea of what might be a little bit different. I'm also going to share the upgrade kit that is available for those of you out there who already own the first printing of Fire in the Lake. So, this is episode 193 of the Daily Dope. I know, we get closer and closer to 200. So, I do want to say, I want to actually throw out a big thank you. I guess I should say, Smokey's actually digging her claw into my thigh at the moment. Yes, I love you too, sweetie. So, I was like, that was kind of throwing me off for a minute there. Anyway, I do want to say, thank you so much to the Wargamers out there, because I notice my Wednesday shows tend to get a lot of views. Well, a lot more views sometimes than some of the other shows that I do. So, much appreciated. Thank you to all the grognards out there. And do want to point out that if you like the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to subscribe. If you like this video, or any of the videos, give it a quick thumbs up. Chat is available because this is a live stream. I know a vast majority of people do watch after the fact, but there is chat. So if you'd like to say hello, chime in, if you have a question, maybe you want to know something about Fire in the Lake, feel free, type it in the chat. I pay attention to the chat even though it's not on screen. It's one of the reasons, or why I should say, one of the ways that I keep some of the stranger commenters at bay sometimes. So, but I do pay attention, and I will respond. Gonna jump into the news. Got some cool news today. Do want to point out some people really don't like the gaming news on the show. If that's the case, look in the show notes. There are time codes. You can jump right ahead to various parts of the show. So, just so you know. And, whew, smokes, got some hair blowing up on me here, right in my nose. All right, so let's get on into the news, because Stronghold Games has a slew of new releases that are on the horizon, and I will be talking about them over the next few days. But there's one in particular that looks mighty interesting, and I've got the dope on the boldest. Ho ho! The forgotten creatures of the forest awoke from their slumber, and nobody knows for sure what is lurking in the Iron Valley. You followed the call of your king. Now is the time for heroic deeds. Defeat mechanical monsters, retrieve enigmatic artifacts, use helpful items, and lead your faction to glory! Each round, 3 expeditions are leaving into the unknown to explore this mysterious place. You form 3 groups, 1 for each expedition, with the heroes on your hand. I'm going to take a guess it's in your hand. Only the strongest groups can take part in an expedition, so you need to portion your power. Can you read your opponents well enough and forestall them? Are you worthy of the title, the boldest? Then collect the most experience and become a legend. After 5 or 6 rounds, depending on the number of players, the player who is able to collect the most experience will be known as the boldest. Max Prentice passionately created and illustrated the world of The Boldest. I gotta say, the illustrations look really cool. I wish I had more of them I could show. His love for details can be found on every card. The over 100 unique illustrations let you delve into this rich world. Get ready to explore. The Boldest is tentatively set for a February 2019 release and is for 2 to 5 players, ages 10 and up, plays in around 30 to 90 minutes, and will carry an MSRP of $79.95. See you, Smokey. Smokey lasts all of, about 9 minutes, because she was on my lap for a couple of minutes before the show started. Anyway, got to point out there are a lot of Stronghold games on the horizon, so that's very, very cool. I am going to be talking about them over the next few shows, because this is not the Stronghold Games news hour. Sorry, Steven. It's just how it works. But this looks really, really interesting. I have to laugh, though, and I know the image just kind of passed by a few seconds ago. There's an image of one of the characters, I guess one of the heroes, and he's wearing like a chef's hat, and it looks like the weapon that's on his back is a huge kitchen knife. I don't know what that's about, but I am looking forward to checking this out. Hey, I see John Vogel's popping in. Nice to see you, John. Says, hello, can't wait to hear your review on this game. I'm taking a guess. John's talking about Fire in the Lake. Okay, so I have to point out, I have already reviewed Fire in the Lake. It is a written review. It's over at thegaminggang.com. So I hate to rain on your parade. This isn't a review. It's not going to be a review. It's an unboxing of the new edition, and we're going to take a first look at it. So I apologize, John, if you thought that I'm going to be reviewing Fire in the Lake. But I will talk about the reason why I'm not going to be doing a review of this copy when I get to the unboxing. So anyway, let's keep going on with the news. If you dig the Sword and Sorcery series from Ares Games, then you'll want to take note of the current Kickstarter the company is running. And I've got the dope on Sword and Sorcery Ancient Chronicles. Sword and Sorcery Ancient Chronicles is a fully cooperative fantasy board game where 1 to 5 players control legendary heroes with unique powers. Recalled from the dead and made immortal by the will of the 3 gods, the heroes embark on a quest to destroy false and corrupted deities worshipped across the land. Sword and Sorcery Ancient Chronicles is designed by Gremlin Project of Galaxy Defenders, Sword and Sorcery Immortal Souls fame, and manufactured and distributed by Ares Games. Come on, Wings of Glory, Sails of Glory, War of the Ring, Battlestar Galactica, Starship Battles, which isn't out just yet, I don't think. Anyway, after the worldwide success of our first season, Sword and Sorcery Immortal Souls, claimed by many as the best cooperative dungeon crawler on the market, we are joining forces again to bring the game system to the next level, with new features enhancing the storytelling and broadening the scope of your adventures. A greater variety of enemies, yay! Thank you, because that was one of the small knocks I had about Sword and Sorcery Immortal Souls, and more possibilities for your heroes. Ancient Chronicles is the second season of the saga. Its storyline is a prequel to the adventures reenacted in Immortal Souls. Oh, it's a prequel, huh? It's a standalone product. You don't need Immortal Souls to play. However, it remains completely compatible, so all available heroes and enemies of the first season can be integrated into Ancient Chronicles, and vice versa, to further enhance gameplay. In Ancient Chronicles, you will once again find the rich gameplay, unique AI system, and excellent quality components already appreciated by thousands of gamers in Immortal Souls to enjoy many, many hours of high adventure and heroic quests. Ares Games has put together a video for the Kickstarter. I gotta point out, this is one of the longer Kickstarter videos I have shared, I think, ever. I really do. I think ever, because it's just a smidge over 5 minutes long. But the reason why I really do want to share this is because you're going to see a whole lot of what's going on with Sword and Sorcery Ancient Chronicles, because there aren't a whole lot of images I could share. So let's take a look at the video, and then I will discuss that in just a moment.
Time flows like a swollen river. More than 100 years have passed. And in spite of the divine power bestowed upon me, my life is finally fading away. My name is Marcus, High Cleric of the Heavenshine Monastery. I have seen the resurrection of the heroes of the Talon Coast. I was witness to their glorious quest. I was their friend and their guide. I played the role the gods wanted me to play. My long search ultimately led me to this secret crypt. After many long years, I can bring back to the light these old, crumbling pages. I am the chronicler who wrote down the saga of the immortal souls, their perilous journey and their battles in the darkness. I feel like we are living a never-ending story, repeating itself, time and time again. The answers now lie before me in this old, worn tome. Finally, I can solve the mysteries which escaped me until now. Finally, I can unravel the secrets of a dark and distant past and find out how the story began. Finally, I can reveal you the legend of the Ancient Chronicles.
With beautiful components and rich gameplay, Sword and Sorcery has been acclaimed by players and critics alike as one of the very best cooperative fantasy board games. Play together as a group of immortal heroes, fighting, exploring, and revealing dark secrets. You control powerful skills and magic with our innovative cooldown mechanic. Defeat monsters using a fun and sophisticated combat system. And regenerate the hero's souls to raise them to legendary status again. In Sword and Sorcery, all monsters become dangerous opponents thanks to the sophisticated AI system controlling them, with no need for a game master. Ancient Chronicles is the new core set and campaign for Sword and Sorcery. In Ancient Chronicles, go beyond the dungeons to discover the world and exciting new places. Explore cities and strongholds on special site sheets, each with unique locations and adventure opportunities. Visit guilds and recruit new allies. Each city is different and offers unique opportunities to find clues and dangers, and to restock your supplies. Secret missions and hidden locations await you while exploring the Underreign and the Northern Lands. Heroes can craft new equipment using gems and scales. Get the help of a good blacksmith to forge and enchant powerful new weapons. Objects become more important in the storyline. Use a torch to explore dark places or open your way with a pick. Ancient Chronicles offers 13 completely different monsters in the core set, each with a unique figure and AI. and many more to unlock as stretch goals in the campaign. You will also face a new type of monster, minions, small but dangerous critters attacking as hordes. This is just the beginning. Support us and help us to unlock all the stretch goals we planned for this campaign.
Wow, you'd have thought they went out and hired Peter Jackson to do that video, right? That was one of the reasons why I wanted to share that, because you can honestly tell that they sunk some money into shooting that video for their Kickstarter. So, do you want to point out Sword and Sorcery Ancient Chronicles is for 1 to 5 players ages 13 and up, plays in around 30 minutes per player, although Solitaire is going to take you more than a half hour. The Kickstarter project has already reached about 180% of its funding goal. And I did want to mention the reason why you would think, wow, this is probably at like 1,000%. The reason I want to point out is because the original goal was $150,000. So it has been doing really well. You can secure a copy of the game plus all the unlocked stretch goals and special Kickstarter bonuses for a $120 pledge, and I believe you still have about 14 days to jump on board. So I do want to point out that the images I'm sharing, the reason why I don't have a ton of images from this Kickstarter is that Ares went with just a really long image showing all this different stuff. So I don't want to sit there like chopping it all apart because it wouldn't look right. But I do recommend go over to either the Ares Games website or go over to Kickstarter. Check this out because there is loads and loads of stuff in this Kickstarter for your $120. It is not just what you're seeing. Now, I liked Sword and Sorcery Immortal Souls. I had a few small critiques of it. One of them was that there weren't a whole lot of monsters for you to fight. Now, with the different releases we've had, the different expansions that have come out, now you're getting a lot more baddies to go up against. And there's plenty in this Kickstarter, so definitely check this out. This is certainly one to watch. All right, fans of Osprey Games' Fantasy Skirmish Miniatures rules, Frostgrave, are going to want to take note. The designer of that system has a new minis system, which is available in PDF, and I've got the dope on Rangers of Shadow Deep, a tabletop adventure game. A kingdom stands on the brink of destruction as a vast realm called the Shadow Deep slowly swallows everything in its path. As the army fights to contain the tide of evil creatures teeming up out of the black clouds, the kingdom's best soldiers, the Rangers, must venture down into the shadows to gather information, rescue prisoners, and ambush enemy supply lines. It is a desperate fight against overwhelming odds, but every little victory brings another day of hope. Rangers of Shadow Deep is a solo and cooperative tabletop miniatures game in which players create their ranger, gather companions, and play through a series of missions in their fight to hold back the darkness. If the rangers survive, they will grow in power and ability and be sent on more difficult, dangerous, and intricate assignments. This book also includes the first supplement for the game, Burning Light. In this mission, the Rangers must venture to a ruined convent. It just says venture to ruined convent. I assume it's a ruined convent, searching for an ancient artifact. As they choose what order to explore the ruins, and thus the order in which scenarios are played, they must gather clues to the artifact's location. But they must be quick, for the longer they remain, the more the forces of the Shadow Deep become aware of their presence. So, do want to point out, this is designed by Joseph A. McCullough, who is the creator of Frostgrave, as well as Frostgrave Ghost Archipelago, which if you are a fan of that system, you are definitely going to take a peek at this. The 211-page PDF of Rangers of Shadow Deep is available right now at DriveThruRPG for $20. Have to say, I like Frostgrave. I think Frostgrave's pretty cool. I think when it first came out, it needed a little more depth, which the various different expansions and supplements that have come out from Osprey Games has really fleshed Frostgrave out really nicely. I'm taking a wild stab that Rangers of Shadow Deep is going to be pretty robust right from the start. Do want to also mention the Gaming Gang is an affiliate of DriveThruRPG and the rest of the drive-thru sites. So if you are going to pop over to one of the drive-thru sites, I do ask, please pop over to thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banners. That way, if you do make a purchase at one of the drive-thru sites, I get a little taste of your purchase, which I always say, it really adds up and it really helps out as far as keeping the Gaming Gang and thus the Daily Dope around. All right, Dan. Hey, so it's Wargame Wednesday, so why don't we talk a little bit about Wargame news? Because the latest issue of Yaah magazine is available for pre-order from Flying Pig Games, and I've got the dope from Mark H. Walker. Crazy. Over 25% off pre-order price. We want you to read and game what we feel is one damn fine board gaming magazine. So we priced Yaah 12. That's the last time I'm going to do it like Yaah, because that's like my running gag. Yaah magazine. Anyway, so we priced Yaah 12 at the lowest pre-order price in Flying Pig's history, just $29. And this is a pre-order. The magazine and game inside will ship in early 2019. Do you need a gaming break after that long, hot, stormy months of summer? Issue 12 of Yaah is just what you need. Also note that Yaah is just what you need even if your summer wasn't long, hot, and stormy, because we've got an issue loaded with reviews and other bits to suit every conflict gaming taste, plus a full game packed in for good measure. This issue's complete game is MacArthur's Defeat. Designer Arrigo Villicagna? Sorry. Take on the 1941 Japanese invasion of the island of Luzon. It features a full sheet of 176 counters and a 22 by 17 inch game map that includes an insert map area of the Bataan Peninsula. If you need a little vacation from yourself, Yaah 12 has you covered with articles on 2 new RPG systems. Brad Smith gives us a quick take on Mark H. Walker's Dark Wars RPG, while Eddie Carlson has a review of the Genesis role-playing system from Fantasy Flight Games. Hexgrid Warriors need not fear, however, because the rest of the magazine is devoted to happy, shiny cardboard carnage. Game designer Greg Porter offers his insights on Flying Pig Games' new Armageddon War. John Burt I guess that's probably how it's spelled, just 2 T's at the end, delivers a couple of in-depth reviews, a look at both Stalingrad, done on the Volga from Last Stand Games, and the new edition of The Battle of Rosebud Creek from Legion Games. It can't really be 2018 without including some coverage of World War I, so Roger Leroy pens a review of Hexasim's Great War Commander, while Nick O'Neill gives us a look at Raiders of the Deep from Compass Games. Norm Lund moves things back to a more modern setting with his piece covering the BAOR and FRG expansions for GMT's MBT, Main Battle Tank. And Matt Foster rounds up the lineup with a look at Hollandspiel's Table Battles. Yaah 12 is a thick 80 pages of gaming wonderfulness that you can't live without. Issue 12 is set for a Q1 2019 release, and you can save big if you pre-order now for $29. Do want to point out that usually, now I'm not sure if this issue will follow the normal procedure, but usually Flying Pig Games does also put the Yaah magazines up as print on demand. Well, not print on demand, it's PDF, print and play, I guess we'll say, over on Wargame Vault. So I do want to say, what? You don't know what Yaah magazine is? You've never seen Yaah magazine? Well, I've got a treat for you. But before I share that treat, I do want to mention, hey, Mark, if you're watching, take a look at one of the images, because you've got, not you personally, but the image is showing the South Sea, and it says Sounth Sea, Sounth. So hopefully this isn't off of the printers yet, so you can fix that. Because I know when there's a misprint on a map or a game board, ugh. But anyway, so as I was saying, if you've never seen Yaah magazine, why don't we take a minute and take a look at the last issue of Yaah magazine? That's right. Let's take a peek at the last issue of Yaah. Moving on over to the other camera here. I have been hanging on to Yaah magazine issue 11 for a while because I wanted to wait until Mark and the team over at Flying Pig Games announced the newest issue coming out, because I wanted to share with folks, what is this magazine all about? You know, people think, oh, it's got a free game. So we're talking like decision games kind of stuff, or are we talking about like the old Command magazine? Similar, I gotta admit. From the Yaah magazines that I've run across, at least the games are playable. Unlike a certain company that I just mentioned that I'm not going to repeat. But it's kind of a running joke with me how, my God, how does anybody, how do they stay in business? They don't play test anything, they just throw stuff out there. I'm going to toss on the old reading specs. So let's get rid of this plastic bag here. Get rid of some of the glare. And I'm going to show you, this was the April issue, so it's been a while. Yaah usually comes out quarterly. So let's take a quick peek here. Although I have to admit, I'm kind of surprised Mark has never asked me to write an article for Yaah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really write stuff much anymore, except for the news pieces. Everything kind of video now. All right, so first thing we're going to do, we're going to just kind of flip through real quick. I'm not going to take up a whole lot of time. Kind of give you an idea of Yaah magazine. So, first of all, nice quality as far as the stock for the cover here. This is not like a regular magazine. You see, we've got a little bit of a spine there. So these will hold up to repeated read-throughs. So we've got a little note from the editor. We've got the different content, so we've got some reviews. A lot of times, Yaah magazine will have some scenarios for various Flying Pig game titles. I think on occasion they actually toss in some scenarios for some Tiny Battle Publishing games. But I know for a fact that usually we will see some scenarios for some of the Flying Pig Games titles. So we've got some articles here talking about Fields of Fire. I need to actually bust that out for a review one of these days. Because I've had it for a while. It is, I gotta admit, the rules are kind of tough to wrap my head around. All right, so anyway, kind of looking through, so they're talking about that. We've got South China Sea, which is from Compass Games. This looks like a really cool game. I wish I was on board with Compass. I never get review stuff from them. All right, anyway, and I've reached out, I've just never heard anything back. So this looks pretty cool here. One thing I did notice is you'll see like the opening page of an article will be in color, and then the rest is black and white, which I'm kind of surprised. I'm a little surprised they don't go all in with full color throughout the whole magazine, but it's okay. I don't ding it that much. We've got Hindenburg's Hour. We've got article about Silver Bayonet, the 25th anniversary edition here, which is from GMT. Talking about Sid Meier's Civilization, A New Dawn. So it's not always going to be conflict simulation games that are tackled in Yaah, but it's usually meatier strategy games. Granted, it is more wargame coverage than you'll find like you would see in, like, say, I was going to say Game Trade Magazine, but Game Trade Magazine is sort of really more like just advertisements, even though they got reviews in that, you know what I mean? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So we got Combat Infantry, which is from Columbia Games. So we got an after-action report. We've got Gloomhaven. Once again, like I said, you're going to see some of the like heavier strategy games. I got to be honest, I have never even seen I've seen the box for Gloomhaven. That's all I've ever seen of Gloomhaven. And I've heard so many great things about it. But it's probably going to turn out to be that I'm going to have to pick up like the app game, or maybe it's on Steam that's coming. I don't think it's out yet. I think it's still in development. So talking about conventions, various different conventions. Then we get to the game for the month. So this is Strike for Berlin, which takes place, it's set in 1920. It's hypothetical, where what if the communists invaded Germany in 1920? So we got the rules here, talking about the game itself. So as you can see, as we flip through here, this is not just, we're not looking at Yaah magazine having a game in it that's got 2 pages of rules. I mean, there is some depth, both tactically and strategically, to the games that you'll see in Yaah magazine. So we got some of the different charts as well. And then we've got pretty much just a final article for the magazine. All right, and we got a little bit of ads from Flying Pig Games too. So as you can see, quite a few pages to the rules for Strike for Berlin. So pretty sweet, right? Okay, so that's the magazine itself. And as I mentioned, really nice stock. It's not cheapo, magazine stock, paper stock that you're used to seeing. So, because these are meant to be kept, not just read and then tossed away. Then we got the counters. We got some counter sheets here. So we got 2 counter sheets for Strike for Berlin. Dual-sided. They are thinner counters. I mean, they're not terrible, right? In fact, strangely enough, it seems like this counter sheet is a little bit thicker than the other counter sheet. But these are cut really nicely too, because just holding it, these counters are looking to pop out. So we've got that, and then we've got the game board. So we've got a sequence of play over here. We've got the different air forces. We've got a morale track. We've got a turn track. We've got morale level adjustment summary. So we've actually got some player information right here on the map as well. And then of course, and the paper to this is nice too. This is the same kind of sort of paper stock that you'll see a lot of times in like a GMT game that comes with a paper map. So it's not like cheap, crappy paper. So this isn't like the old Steve Jackson games that came in the little clamshells. It's not like micro games and things like that. So very, very nice. So I did want to share what Yaah magazine actually looks like, because I think there are probably a lot of folks out there who are like, hey, sounds kind of cool. I'm just sort of, I don't know. I don't know, what is this magazine like? I've never seen it up close. So wanted to share that. So once again, do want to mention that Yaah magazine issue 12 is available for pre-order, and it's only $29. So, and the MacArthur's Defeat could be pretty interesting. It does look sort of kind of traditional hex and counter, but that doesn't mean that that's how it's going to play. It just sort of looks that way. All right, so before I jump into the unboxing of the 2nd edition of Fire in the Lake, let's talk a little bit about what's coming up on future shows, future episodes of the Daily Dope. So tomorrow's Thursday. I always like talking about RPGs on Thursdays. And I was up in the air. I was like, yeah, I should probably do like a PDF review. I've been reading some adventures in that for different systems. And then I thought, I love sharing video of game books. I really do. And it's funny because when I'm reading game books, I love having a physical book. When I'm running games, like role-playing games, I like the PDFs because it's super tough to carry along, like a huge stack of books with you. And what I also do, it's just a little tip that I happen to do, is I'll actually take pages from the PDFs and put them together in another PDF that I create. So if I need to take something from like a monster book, you know, like a bestiary, something like that, I'll pull those off of the PDF and kind of create my own PDF. That said, I just love sharing game books. And I gotta be honest, I have never actually shared video for the core books for Dungeons and Dragons. Ever. No. Strangely enough, I have never actually shared video for these. So what I'm actually going to do tomorrow is I'm going to talk a little bit about why I like 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. I know there are people out there who rip on it and things like that, but you know what? There's people who are just never satisfied with anything. And then especially role-playing games, and this goes way back. So I remember even back in the day when I was in high school, and we're talking Advanced Dungeons and Dragons was popular back then. I used to poo-poo it. I poo-pooed it all the time because I was running Call of Cthulhu, right? So I'm a lot more friendly to Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder and all the other RPGs out there too. So tomorrow I am actually going to kind of page through the Player's Handbook. Going to do, I guess I'll say it's a review. I'm going to review the Player's Handbook and talk about why I actually really like 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. So that's what's on tomorrow's agenda. On Friday, we're going to take a look at what's in the new release for the Ascension card game, Delirium. This is from Ultra Pro Entertainment, as well as Stoneblade Entertainment. So that's on Friday's show. Monday's show, I am going to unbox and take a first look at Codenames, Marvel Codenames. This was super popular at Origins. So, and my best friend Elliot Miller over at voiceofe.com actually bought me this for my birthday. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, I'm not sure why you're buying me a game, but that's fine. So I'm gonna unbox and take a look at this. And then on Tuesday, wow, I'm gonna review Betrayal Legacy from Avalon Hill Games. So this actually hits stores on Friday. So I had thought about doing the review on Friday, but I still need to play some more adventures of it before I can do my review, because there's a prologue, and then there are 13 adventures. Then on next Wednesday's show, I think I'll take a look at the new edition of A Distant Plane. I think I'll do an unboxing, show that off. So, all right. So, boy, news kind of took quite a while today. Well, that said, I know folks are going to be checking this video out, because they want to see the 2nd edition of Fire in the Lake from GMT Games. It's designed by Mark Herman and Volku Rumke, with artwork provided by Roger B. McGowan, Mark Simonich, and I know I'm going to get this wrong, Chechu Nieto? It's a guess. The game is for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, plays in around 3 hours. It does carry an MSRP of $85. There's also an upgrade kit that's available if you already purchased the 1st edition, and that carries an MSRP of $45. We'll take a quick look at that as well. So let's move on over to the other camera, because we have Fire in the Lake here, Insurgency in Vietnam, and yes, it is the fourth volume in the Coin series. So I've already slashed the shrink wrap on this. So I was gonna mention John Vogel was tuning in, and he had mentioned in chat that he was like, "Oh wow, I'm really looking forward to your review of this game." And I just typed out in chat during that Ares Games video that I'm just doing an unboxing. I've actually reviewed Fire in the Lake. It was a while back when the 1st edition came out, and it's a written review. It is on thegaminggang.com. Really, really dig it. Reason why I'm not doing a review with this, first of all, I'm doing an unboxing. I had a giveaway during the live extra life stream that we did on Saturday, and I did some giveaways for some of the coin games that I just received from GMT, which I had already reviewed. I had not shot unboxing videos, or at least I couldn't remember. I got to be honest, I did not search through the 500 plus videos on the YouTube channel. I know I could have, but I'm pretty sure I didn't do an unboxing for Fire in the Lake. Maybe I did, But so I wanted to share this because, first of all, this is a new edition. And I know GMT is not talking about how this is like a second edition. They're calling it a reprint edition. So this is actually going to be shipped out to the winner of the giveaway from our Extra Life charity stream. And it is, I want to say it's Brant McClure. So do want to say thank you very much, Brant, for taking part in our charity event. That was pretty cool that you chipped in with a donation to Extra Life. And I keep wanting to say Doug McClure, but it's not. It's Brant McClure. Right, so Fire in the Lake is one of the coin series, the counterinsurgency series from GMT. This is one of the heftier coin games. And in fact, I would say Fire in the Lake is probably one of the more complex. Now, that doesn't mean it's bad in any stretch of the imagination. But as far as the coin series goes, I do remember Fire in the Lake was a little more complex than some of the other titles, at least in my opinion. If you're interested in the coin series, Cuba Libre is one that's actually really, really easy to get like non-war gamers into. So anyway, Fire in the Lake is for 1 to 4 players. GMT marks it as a 5 on their complexity scale, 5 out of 9. I think it's a little low. I think that's a little low. Solitaire suitability is 9, which is right on the money because there are plenty of charts in here for the AI as far as if you want to play it solitaire, or if you're playing 2 players and you want to have the other, you need to have the other 2 factions in here. It is for ages 14 and up, which I completely agree with as well. So let's open this up and we're going to take a look inside. So first off, we're being greeted by the playbook. We'll take a look at this in just a moment. Oh, hey, yeah, it is saying 2nd edition. I thought GMT was just calling it a reprint edition. I guess I'm wrong. So it says 2nd edition right there. So we've got the rules of play. So let's take a look at the rules of play real quick. Kind of flip through this a little bit. And as you can tell, right, so I open this up. This is a pretty deep box, right? You're not seeing a lot of air, folks. This is jam-packed. All right, so let's kind of move this off to the side a little bit, kind of get it off screen for a sec. So the rules are about 28 pages in length. So we've got the introduction showing how the board is broken up, the different terrain, talking about general course of play, talking about the map, the forces. If you're not familiar with the coin series has a bit of a kind of a Euro game-ish look to it. But they are not Euro games, but they do have, a lot of cylinders, a lot of cubes, things like that. Talking about the different players in the factions. Talking about sequence of play, operations. Another aspect of the coin series that a lot of people really dig, I really like it, is each of the factions will play asymmetrical. None of them play the same. So some of the factions will have certain orders that they can perform, certain actions they can perform that other factions cannot. So that's one of the aspects I really dig about the coin series. That being said, some gamers out there who are not overly familiar with the coin series, who may not have played any coin titles, might find that a little tricky because they're used to a lot of times when they're playing a war game where it's basically, each side plays pretty much the same. Maybe you've got some special rules for each of the different sides for the combatants. This is quite a bit different. So we got events because this is a card-driven game. Coup rounds, non-player factions, talking about victory here. Non-player events. So we're talking about the non-player VC actions, non-player NVA actions, non-player Arvin actions, and then we have non-player US actions if you don't want to have a player playing the US. So talking about these here, talking about 1-player victory, key terms, the different scenarios. So we've got a short scenario 65 to 67, medium 68 to 72. And we do have a full scenario that runs 64 to 72. Nam, Cockpit of the Cold War. And then we see some of the counters on the back. Of course, it's a GMT title. Most GMT titles will not be complete without a playbook. Now, the playbook is actually thicker than the rulebook, which is cool. What I tend to usually do when I'm cracking open a GMT game is I will read the playbook first before I read the rulebook. I know it might sound a little strange, but a lot of times when I read the playbook, not only does it kind of make the rules click when I'm reading the rulebook, but it also kind of gets my juices flowing to play the game when I'm reading through the designer notes, the historical information, things like that. So let's take a look. So we're going to start off with Fire in the Lake tutorial. So it's going to show us kind of an example of play. So it's going through quite a bit of this, going through different turns. Henry Cabot Lodge, booby traps. Part 2, talking about the coup round. Guide for coin series players. So it talks a little bit, kind of like a summary, kind of summarizes Fire in the Lake and how it, kind of like a little bit of strategy tips. But it also kind of talks a little bit about, okay, because the coin series games are always all different from each other. So then we got the faction interactions, non-player examples of play, so the playbooks are usually very, very nicely illustrated as well. GMT really normally will go the extra mile to have a lot of illustrations and images in their rulebooks and their playbooks. So we're seeing some examples of non-player actions here. Event text, tips, and background. One of the things I always love about card-driven games, historically based card-driven games, is the fact that, especially from GMT, you'll see they'll talk about what each of these cards represents, which I always love. This, it actually gives you some tips about each of the cards as well. So that's a little bit different. A lot of times with the card-driven games, it's just talking about, oh, this is the historical event that this card represents. In this playbook, it's not only talking about that, it's also kind of giving you some tips, some strategic, I don't want to say tricks, but some strategic examples on how you would play this card as an event. So going through here, and it's going to list each of the cards. Typhoon Kate, Agent Orange. There's booby traps again. The Tet Offensive. Then we've got the design notes. And talking about the non-player design. So we've got Volko, Mark, and Orjan. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. But they did the non-player design here. And then we get a card list on the back. So we got both of these. So let's take a look here. We're going to have the different flowcharts. So each of the players, so we got 4 players. So each of the 4 players is going to get a player aid that's going to tell them exactly, okay, so what operations can each of these factions engage in? So we're seeing the Viet Cong, we're seeing the Republic of Vietnam, the US, and then North Vietnam. So you'll have 4 copies of these for if you're playing a 4-player game. I gotta say, I mean, even though there's tons of work put into the flowcharts and the AI for the non-players, if you want to play without a full complement of 4 players. In my opinion, though, and this is with any game that's, you know, that's made for multiple players but has some solitaire rules in it, nothing ever can replace a live human being as a player. I mean, granted, but I'll tell you what, the flowcharts for these coin games come mighty close. So we're going to see here we've got non-player US, non-player NVA, non-player Viet Cong, and the non-player Arvin. So we're going to have 2 copies of these. So we've got 2 of those. We've got special event instructions on this side. And this is a kind of a breakdown of some of the spaces on the map, talking about procedures for the coup round. So I'm kind of curious because I know for Falling Sky, the new upgrade kit made the AI, the non-player AI, much more aggressive. I'm wondering if the same has been done for Fire in the Lake. I don't know. I'm not sure. Right, so anyway, so we've got non-player coup round procedures, remove, place, move, random LOCs on that. So I started talking about how this isn't going to be a review, and it's because this is going to be sent out at the end of the week to Brant McClure. So that's why I'm not punching counters, anything like that. I'm just doing an unboxing and showing this off. So we've got a sequence of play, talking about the various different spaces, I should say. We got the force pool. Looks like 2 copies of this. So you got plenty of player aids to go around. And of course, if for some strange reason you needed more than 2 copies of this, by all means, just scan it and print it out for the other players. So we've got all of that. Then we've got the counters. One thing you'll find in coin games is you will not have tons and tons of counters because your forces are actually represented by cubes. So we do have some dual-sided counters here. We've got those. We've got the board, which we'll actually take a look at that last. We got handy-dandy baggies. Gotta love that. We've got 3 6-sided dice, red, yellow, and blue. And here we've got all of the various different cubes and cylinders and discs that you're going to utilize while you're playing coin. So for an example, you'll see like some of them are actually going to have, like this one's like a hexagonal. They're going to have paint on them. And then, of course, some are just, like this, are just cubes. So, got all of the wooden pieces there. This is why I was saying that some people will see a coin game that's actually all set up and everything, and they think, oh, I guess this is kind of a Euro game. It's not. It is not a Euro-style game. So, we've got those pieces there. Let's take the cards out. Because I understand that the decks have changed. We have new decks. Now, I'm not saying that the different events and things like that are all completely different than from the first edition, but I do know for a fact that in the upgrade kit, there are new decks of cards. So we are going to kind of take a look at the cards here real quick. As I mentioned, this is a card-driven game. This is a historic card-driven game. So, players will have an option of playing an event or actually performing operations. One of the interesting aspects of the coin games is you will actually see on the top of the card, that is going to be the sequence of play for the various different factions of the game on the top of the card. But each faction does not get to actually take a turn every turn. So normally it's going to be 2 factions get to do something, the other 2 factions do not. So a lot of the strategy involved in the coin games is that you're going to determine like when do you take actions, when do you not take actions, when do you actually, I guess I'll say, activate your factions, because these cards are face up. Not all of them, of course, but you will see a couple of face-up cards, so you're going to know what is the sequence of play coming up for that round or that turn. I always say turns. I'm just so old school because everything was a turn, and everything in a turn was made up of phases or rounds. Nowadays, with game design, it's like a round is a turn is a round. So every game is a bit different on, what is like the main time period that everybody's doing stuff, right? So we're going to take a look at some of the cards here. So we got Gulf of Tonkin, Kissinger, Peace Talks, and then we have years up there too, because remember, we've got different scenarios. So of course, if you're playing 65 to 67, you're not going to have a 1968 card in the mix. Top Gun, Wild Weasels, Aces, Edsid, Arclight, Rolling Thunder. So it'll say, okay, so sustained bombing, degrade trail 2 boxes, -9 NVA resources, NVA ineligible through next card. Assets to restricted strategic air command, -5 Arvin resources, no airstrike until coup, momentum. So you're going to see all these various, you're going to see a breakdown of information up top and information down here. So you're not going to read a bunch of flavor text on these cards, which is fine. That's what you got the playbook if you want to find out, okay, so what do the M48 patents represent? They represent tanks. They represent armor. Medevac. So, Da Nang. We've got a lot of different cards in here. And you'll see they're kind of mixed throughout. So we got a 64 card there, a 68 card here. So we've got the 2 decks. So we'll pop open the other deck as well. There we go. Bing, bing. Got the coup cards. And then we've got, if I remember, yeah, we've got, okay, so I wanted to pull out some of the pivotal events. So each of the factions will have a pivotal event card that they can utilize. It's not something they get to replay. Most cards in the coin series, you're not going to be replaying the cards either. So it's not like, say, for an example, in Twilight Struggle, right? If you go through the deck and let's say you're adding in, the next era, you're going to shuffle up your discards and things like that. That does not take place in coin games, really. So Ambassador Taylor, Green Berets. We got John Wayne on there. No, we don't. Is that Westmoreland? Can't really tell. I don't think so. I don't think that was Westmoreland there. The Rocks, Body Count, Great Society, General Lansdale. So all of this different stuff. So I mean, if you don't have a really firm grasp of the history of our involvement in Vietnam, and when I say our involvement, I mean the United States, and you haven't, say, watched the really good Ken Burns documentary series that was recently, this game is going to teach you a lot about Vietnam, the Vietnam conflict. Vietnam War, I know, wasn't really officially a war, but still, it is the Vietnam War. All right, hey, booby traps. I keep running across booby traps. So, these are the various different decks. Well, I shouldn't say various different decks. It's one deck. It is one deck, but depending on the scenario you're going to play is how these decks will be sorted out. Then we got coup cards, because can't have South Vietnam without coups taking place and everybody, a constant revolving door of leadership in Vietnam. So, failed attempt cards. All right, so we've got those. Pop these up on here. And let's move this out of the way, and I will try to share a look at the board here. But the board is fairly large, so I know I'm not going to get all of this in, but I will kind of show this off a little bit. And when I do unboxings at GMT Games and they have like a, you know, a big board or map that's in one of these plastic kind of baggies here, I'm always super careful taking it out because it's really easy to catch an edge and kind of pull up the mounted paper. So just kind of give you an idea of the size of this. Now this is going to continue on, so kind of give you an idea. All right, open this up here. So we've got the top of the game board here with a lot of various different player information that you're going to be tracking on here. So, as I mentioned, this is a good size board. So this is really just half of it. This is half of the board here. And of course, the way this is set up, it's going to be a little tough. Let's see if I can slide this on in here. Get as much of this in. So you'll need a little bit of space at your table to break this out. Now, not a huge amount, right? There's war games out there that have way larger game boards and maps than Fire in the Lake. I'll tell you that much. But this is a pretty good size board. And one of the cool things that I really liked about Fire in the Lake, and a lot of times with the vast majority of the coin series, a lot of the information you're going to need is really at your fingertips on the board as well. So I always thought that was pretty cool. So we've got let's put the game board in like this. So we've got the various different player aids. We've got the counters. We've got the game board. We've got the always excellent playbook from GMT, as well as the rules of play and some baggies as well. And that is what we find when we take everything from the second edition of Fire in the Lake outside the box. Now, as I already had pointed out, there is an upgrade kit that is available for those out there who already own the first edition of Fire in the Lake. So let's real quickly, this carries an MSRP of $45. So it is $40 less than purchasing a brand new copy. And I want to say that you're looking at the game board has not changed because there is no new game board in this. So, as I pointed out, we've got the new decks. We've got the new decks of cards. So we've got those. So we've got the decks there. We've got the new rules of play for the second edition. You got the playbook, tutorial, and non-player examples. Now, here's the interesting thing. I can tell just by looking at this right now, is this is just a new example of play and new examples for the non-player, if you're using non-player factions, right? All the other stuff, the designer notes, the historical information on the cards and that, is in the original playbook. So this is not the new playbook. This is a new second edition updated playbook. So we've got that. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of the faction operation handouts. We've got those. We've got, I'm guessing, 2 of the non-player AI handouts. Yep, just like I thought. And then we should have 2 of the sequence of play, is what I'm guessing. Yep, there we go. So we've got these 2, these 2, these 4, as well as the playbook. I can never just sing the praises of the GMT playbooks enough. I think one time there was a playbook, and I can't even remember which game it was for. There was a playbook from a GMT title that I was sort of like, it's all right. Well, but normally it's like, wow, love these, love the playbooks. Then we got the new rules of play, and we got the 2 decks of cards. So this is what you'll find in the upgrade kit that's available from GMT right now for $45 is the MSRP. I gotta say, I think it's cool, and GMT does this a lot. This isn't just one time GMT's done this. GMT usually puts out when they do like an upgraded edition of something, they will normally put out an upgrade kit that you can purchase. And I gotta say, kudos to GMT for doing that, because there are a lot of companies that wouldn't do that. A lot of companies out there, it's like, yeah, well, we got a new edition of this game coming out. If you got the original one, oh well, gotta buy a new game. Or at least, GMT's cool where they're saying, hey, if you already got the first edition, you can just get the new stuff. Everything else stays the same. You don't have to spend $85 on a brand new game when you can just upgrade your first edition for $45. So big thumbs up for GMT doing that. All right, so that's it for today's show. Wow, I thought for sure this would have been a longer show today. I know, granted, it's a little over an hour, but I thought, wow, this is going to go really long. Well, I guess not. So anyway, that's it for today's show. As I mentioned, other thing I'm going to point out before I finish up. This weekend, I'm probably going to shoot just a little standalone video for the Fountain of Youth and Other Adventures. For some strange reason, I kept thinking it was called And Other Tales, which is from Osprey Games. It is for the Lost Expedition, which we actually played during our Extra Life charity event, because I really dig it. And Elliot had never played it. And of course, we lost. We never got to the Lost City of Z. Because I'd say about 80% of the time, 75% of the time, we don't. But that's one of the reasons I like the game, because it's challenging. So I'm going to probably shoot just a little standalone video for an unboxing. Take a peek at that. So anyway, what I like to say is, as I wrap up, geez, once again, I'm kind of like, where am I going with this today, Jeff? What's going on? See, I'm so discombobulated from sitting there looking at the clock saying, wow, that's it? It's only a little after 3? Huh? Anyway, as I always like to say, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. By now, you know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. I'll be back tomorrow talking about 5th edition D&D and kind of doing a review of the Player's Handbook, which I know has been out for quite some time, but I've never shot video of it. So, until then, enjoy the rest of your Wargame Wednesday. As I mentioned, I'll be back tomorrow, and I have to say, I always like to close the show by saying thank you very much for watching. Thanks again for watching The Daily Dope, presented by The Gaming Gang. If you like this episode, be sure to give it a quick thumbs up. And if you dig the channel, please subscribe. If you'd like to check out our previous episode, click right here. And if you want to check out a somewhat randomly selected episode, give a click right down here. It'll be like opening a box of Cracker Jacks. You just don't know what you'll get. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'm Jeff McAleer.